the first day of, as I say, a packed 2-day conference. So I need to start by firstly thanking Clearview, our sponsors. Thank you very much for your sponsorship and for all you've put into helping us do this, because we can't do this without the help of people like Clearview and companies that have sponsored other parts of this. We can certainly put some government money into this, and we're happy to do that, because really for the value we get out of having a room like this to be able to speak to is just phenomenal. But we can't cover all the costs, and so having the private sector helping us, having the private sector contributing and allowing us to run events of this scale and to pay to get the local authorities here is absolutely essential. So thank you very much to Clearview. Thank you very much to the other sponsors of which you'll have seen some last night and you will see some later. Thank you very much. The housekeeping is fairly simple. There is no fire alarm today. If the fire alarm goes off, that means it's a real fire and you need to leave the building. There are a number of fire escapes, and basically you follow the fire exit signs to the nearest exit and rendezvous in the car parks. But we shouldn't, unless something bad happens, we shouldn't need to do that. The toilets, I assume you've all found them now, but they are to the right and then down the corridors along the back here, both sides. So that's what the toilets are. And I think pretty much that's it in terms of housekeeping. Just to say that, as you will have noticed, we are quite full. We've filled the room pretty much to capacity. So if you can just try and make sure that, as they say on trains, if you can just try and keep the aisles clear, keep luggage out of the aisles. We don't have anywhere above to put your bags, but if you just keep the aisles clear, that will help people moving in and out of the room. So that would be great if you could do that. I've just got a few minutes really just to say a few things about the TTF, just to start us off. So I think the TTF started in about 2013, 2014, and my first TTF meeting was in a fairly dodgy hotel in Lambeth in South London, and I think there were about 12 of us there, and I think we had a few ideas about what the TTF might become, and we thought about things around developing business cases and economic justifications for technology, and even then we sort of thought about this idea of a group that could bring everyone together into one space and kind of coalesce the sector and allow government to speak to the sector and allow government to influence the sector and get everyone kind of pointing in the same direction about technology. And at that time, it was quite a vague kind of idea that we should do that. And we felt, even with the great work that people like ITS UK and others were doing back at the time, we felt there was still a need for that kind of inclusive sort of one place for us all to meet. And we didn't really know how we would achieve that. And TTF's been through a number of iterations. We ran it as a company for a while. We ran it using Arup as a consultant supplier who did some great work in growing it and developing it into its current form. But it really took off when we formed the relationship with Elcrig, who really understand what TTF is about, and that's really helped us to grow to the place we are now. And that initial idea that we had of some vague kind of meeting place where government and the sector can get together and talk about problems and try and align itself has just absolutely paid off in spades, and here we are today. We're doing that. That initial idea that we thought of has just grown to a level that none of us could have ever predicted. And having been involved pretty much from the beginning, I wasn't quite there at the beginning, but not far behind. Having been involved for that length of time, to be able to stand here today and see a room like this is just incredible. And to know the power that we have in terms of focusing the sector, to know that the respect with which the department now holds the TTF is just amazing to see. And I think we see, and a lot of the talk today, certainly tomorrow, will be about the signals funding that we've been able to issue, the £50 million that we issued for signals maintenance funding last month, the £20 million for intelligent traffic management that we are currently open for bids for. To see the department kind of entrusting the TTF to front that and deal with the bidding process and to deal with the interaction with local authorities is really gratifying. And it really shows that when the sector gets together, we can be something really useful. We can be something that the DOT absolutely wants to work with. So all I can say is we started off in a small hotel in Lambeth. We've now grown to a size where we don't really fit in city centre venues anymore. We've had to come out here to a roundabout in the middle of Leicestershire. And we're even filling this. And I've now decided that by the end of this current contract, my one aim, my one challenge for Elcrig is I want to be able to say, "Hello, Wembley." That's where I want us to get to. It might be a pub on Wembley High Street. It might not be Wembley Stadium, but I want to do that. No, seriously, I want to see this continue going. I don't know how big we can get, and we never really want to get this to be this kind of a challenger for Highways UK or Trafex or those types of events, because they're different things. But in terms of the forum that brings us all together in a neutral space with some sponsorship, but fundamentally a neutral, non-partisan space, to be able to keep growing that and to be able to keep drawing other sectors in is fantastic. Just quickly, just some figures. So we have 58 English highway authorities here today. That's amazing. Who can actually name 58 highway authorities? I don't think I could, but you're all here. And again, that from a sector that always grumbles that local authorities never turn up to events. Well, they do. You're all here. That says something about the way we finance it. And again, to our sponsors, I say thank you, because it allows us to fund your places here. But it says something about the quality of the debate and the takeaways that you will take away from this. That's because we're all here in this room together. We've got 7 combined authorities, 4 London boroughs, 2 Scottish authorities, which is fantastic. We are actually UK-wide, but we're even better than that. And we've got 32 authorities who attended the working group sessions yesterday virtually. And we've got DFT, we've got Transport Scotland, we've got Welsh Government, National Highways, Transport Infrastructure Ireland. We have a guest we have 2 guests actually from the Netherlands here, who we're going to hear from later. So this is truly the first international TTF conference. What more can we want than that? So before we move into the agenda, I just have a couple of quick notes for you. First is a note for your diary, and we will talk about this later again. But the next in-person full TTF meeting will be on the 12th of November at the IET, Austin Court in Birmingham. Now that's an autumn update. Those of you that have been to autumn updates will know they're a little bit different to this. They're not quite as big as this, and we don't quite push the boat out like we do. But it's much more of a business meeting, slightly smaller but much more focused. But again, that would be a great opportunity in what could be a completely different world. Who knows what government and what government priorities will be by the 12th of November. Things will be different. We will certainly have awarded the ITMF funding by then, so we will be in a different world. So that will be a great time to reconvene and kind of understand where we are and, again, where we need to be going to. So put that date in your diary, 12th of November. Just a couple of other little pieces of housekeeping, particularly for those of you in the room who are interested in the GLF and TSOG funding that we handed out earlier. Just a couple of quick notes on that. So firstly is the authorities, you need to have uploaded your work plans to the TTF website by the end of April. That's slightly flexible, and I know some of you have issues in terms of getting approvals and working out what you're doing and how the money's being divided and everything. So I'm saying by the end of May. By the end of May, we could have a full set of a full understanding of what schemes you intend to deliver. That would be fantastic. And again, that's really useful for us, because one of the reasons we have this money is because we spent the £15 million that we handed out in 2021 so wisely. We delivered so many schemes. We were able to evidence that. We showed such a benefit for what in government terms is such a small amount of money, that having that evidence base is crucial. If we want the £70 million we have now not to be a one-off, gathering that evidence now is absolutely crucial. So please do that, and please keep updating those programmes through the life of your schemes. Around that, we are also thinking of some kind of proposal to set up some ongoing signals groups, to be able to share information between signals authorities, so we don't have to bore the rest of you in this room rigid when we want to talk about signals. And we could do that, we really could. But we don't want to, so we want to set up some regional groups. So watch this space. At some point over the next few months, we will be coming out to you and saying, look, we want to set up 2, 3, 4, however many regional groups to bring the signals community together to talk about this. And again, that's not trying to do what other people do, there are other groups, but this is specifically a group to allow government and the signals suppliers and the signals owners, the local authorities, to get together to talk about signals and talk about maintenance issues. So that's something else we want to do. Thirdly, you will know that as part of the award letter for that funding, we talked about DSIS, the Digital Controller Information Standard, which is about how we digitise traffic signal numbering and traffic signal data. There will be something coming out in the next couple of weeks about that, explaining what we want you to do, but there is some work for us all to do to try and start to build that national database of traffic signals. Now, there is something to do. It's not massively onerous at this stage, but when you see that come out, please respond to it. Please take it seriously and help us with that, because again, that's another crucial part of how we move to a digitised road network. So please do that. And just quickly, lastly, today we will be announcing the supplier database. So we were challenged during the preparation of the ITMF funding. We challenged people to say, we accept that you will use suppliers that you know, and that's fine, but we want you to build consortia around that. We want to see innovation. We want to see bidders working with SMEs, working with innovators from outside of the sector or outside of this country, and bringing innovation into their proposals. And of course, the immediate challenge to that is, well, how do we find these people? How do the people that are innovating get put together with the people that want to innovate. So we've built a very simple section on the TTF website, which is basically like, well, it's not really like Tinder for things, because that would just be too horrific to think about. And it doesn't have a swipe function either. But, Grindr, of course. We are fully inclusive. It could be Grindr. But it's actually neither. You'll be desperately pleased to know it's neither. But it basically is a place where innovators can put up their details, put a short resume of what they do and what their innovations are, and that will allow us to have a simple place where we can start to do some of that matchmaking between people that want to innovate and people that can innovate. And I think that is pretty much it for me. I think that's all I need to say. So thank you all for being here, as I say. Let's have a great couple of days. Let the party begin. And I'd like to hand over to Anthony.